I have a very specific application that I want to show. I think this application will demonstrate a few things can be done on Scriptcase, and as you mentioned, this script tool is no Microsoft tool, but is one solution available to build the web applications like you have for, I think there are other solutions out there. What are the name of the other one? Soho, I think, and there is another one in Visual. They use Visual Basic, the Alpha 5, and some of the others are subscription based or very expensive. This tool I pay, I think, probably around $160 a year, and I can build web applications in a very short period of time, and it's very flexible, and it gives you the option to build applications with no code at all, but at the same time give you the option to put some code or customize it with PHP and JavaScript and obviously SQL, and it has some internal variables, and I'm going to show how the variables work on this program. So on this program, this web application that I have here only has 1, 2, and 3 applications. I mean, they call it applications, but there are like modules. As you see, this is a menu, this is a grid, and this is a form. And usually I use a blank test on my applications. When I'm working with code, I use this application right here, and then if I need to test something, I just paste it in here, and then I run the code, and then I display on the browser the values, and just a confirmation. You know, it's like in Microsoft Access, we do sometimes a message box to see if by clicking a control, you know, we're getting the proper IDs. So if this application has a blank template or blank application where we can enter a PHP, JavaScript, HTML, and then we can customize pretty much anything from scratch. And also we can have a database in the back end. I mean, we can have a connection to a database. Right now, this database is connected to a SQL Server database in the cloud on Azure. And if you see this blank application right here, it has only one event. Is on execute. Microsoft is an event-driven too. So this one is kind of emulating that process of working by events. So this one only has one event. Basically, when this one is executed, it will perform this task right here. So I'm gonna just zoom in this, and right now is basically executing this macro or function or procedure. I don't know, I think they call it macros in here. But what it is, basically this macro right here reads SQL command, and the data set is stored on a variable. So what I'm telling right now in this command is execute this SQL command, which is this one right here. So it's a basic select query from this table, and when this condition is to be matched, you know, the ID is equal 8136, and then store the value into that record set, that variable. Now, this is one way. This way is using an array. So this is a very common instruction that I use to pull data out of the database or even join tables. So what it does, once this executed, is going to bring the value into an array. So we have row and columns, and then we can see the values. In this case, is only one value. So it's going to show, it's going to actually, it will return this value, this field, and also it's going to return this field right here. So field 0 and field 1. So it's starting with 0 and 1. So the field 0, the title, the value of this field will be stored in this variable. I'm sorry, on this field. And the second one is going to be stored in the description. So in the Scriptcase, the fields are defined by curly brackets. So if let me open a form here. I'm going to open this form tasks. So in this form, if I go to fields, I see the name of the fields right here. So if I want to refer to title, I have to encode. I have to enter the curly brackets. I have to put that between curly brackets. Same for description. So what I'm telling right now here is basically store those values into those variables. If the value is set, it's going to do this. But if the value is null or blank, it just would put a blanks into those fields. Right now, if I execute this, let me see what it does. Probably. So if you see, this is the value for title and description, or vice versa. I don't know. I think so. Those are the two values. And yeah, those are being displayed right here. So in the Scriptcase, I use echo PHP command similar to message box. So it says display the value of this array, row 0 and row 1, or 1 and 2. So it's starting by 0. So this instruction is doing this right now. And so it's a way to do some testing. There are some more complex queries, but it's just a basic query that will show you this macro right here. So we can use another macro. As you see on the right side right here, there are some examples. So basically, what you see in red is not available for this event. What you see on green is what is available on this event. So we can update, we can insert, delete, we can do the lookup, and we can do operation with dates, and send emails, and also we can jump into another form or website or anything or application. And on macros, these are all the macros available for this blank application. So another similar, if you see this is being grouped by SQL, by date, by control, and so on. So we can, right now the one I'm using is this one right here. So if I mouse over the macro, I can see what it does. So this macro executes a select command, storing a second parameter, and returns the data in a variable. So in this case, it's an array, but the variable name is whatever we define right here. But there is another one. You know, we have this one, execute. So if we want to delete, if we want to, you know, we can use any SQL command. We can use this one right here. If we want to concatenate. If we want to make sure that data is being stored, we can, you know, commit transaction. There are a lot of more advanced, you know, if we want to edit the current connection. And also, if we want to check for SQL injection, we can also validate some variables. And for control, we have a lot of options right here too. So this one is being used. This is common use when you want to start an application, and the first time the application is executed, you want to start a new, like add new in Access. So we can use this instruction to start in a blank brand new application or brand new record. And there are a lot of more instructions right here so that we can use. Another one very common that I use frequently is this one. Actually, let me try it right here. I'm going to paste it. So what I'm going to do, I put the cursor on line 19, and I'm going to click on redir. So I'm sorry, this macro redirects to another application or URL. So if I click in here, it's giving me some information right here, so I can put my own, and also it's giving me the parameters that I can use. So if I need to get more information about this command, I can click the question mark, and then we have more information about this command. So it's kind of describing what it is. And yeah, so this is the application name that we are going to redirect. And if we want to pass parameters, and so we can specify we want to open on the same page, on a model, you know, like above the current form or stuff like that. So in here we have some examples how this can be used. So this is one example right here. This is another example, passing parameters. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open Google. So right now I'm going to execute this. It's going to do this. And at the end, it's going to do this command, this instruction right here. So I need to put the semicolon. To make sure the instruction is completed in that line. So I'm going to save. I'm going to execute. And if I go right here, so if you see now, it showed the two lines that we have over here from pulling data from this database, and then it's being redirected to this form right here. So I mean to this website. So it went to Google. So this is one way to do that by pasting, by clicking in here, and also another way to do that is if you type SC underscore and then you hit Control spacebar, you can select more instructions. So if I select this one, so this one is kind of similar to this one, but this one we can look. this is going to be if you see on this as lookup, we don't have we have an array. On this one, we are going to look into the data. So this one, if it's like getting a data set, equivalent in Access, a DAO or ADO in Access. So we can use a select and look through the records. So this is the instruction to do that. And there are some other that we can use right here, but this application has a form. The form is called tasks. And if you see right here, we have an SQL. I'm going to click in here, and then these are the fields available for this form. So I'm going to execute the form. Right now it's generating the code right here. And it's processing on the top right here. And I'm going to click. If you see, this is a form that I created on this type of application. So this form has a quick search, has an add new, save, and delete, and then it's bringing these two values from the database, and then we have a drop down. We can assign the names in here, and we can assign status and a date. So it has a drop down. So we have a percentage. So we can increase and decrease percentage. And I think this kind of works with the let's put the 25. So we have the option to increase and decrease right now by clicking this control. And it's built into the application. So this is a percentage, these three values. Now, these fields right here are HTML fields. So we can customize our own. And this can be, we can put, like a Microsoft Word, we can put our own commands in there. So this is the form, and also there is a grid. This grid is a different type of application. Basically, this one is listing all the tasks, and I'm going to execute the grid. Right now is executing the grid. And now it's available. So as you see, the grid is, this is pulling data from the database, and the database is an Azure. That's why it's taking a little bit longer to load. This database is now locally. It's already in the cloud. And if you see, I have a way to open this task right here. And one feature that this tool has, if the field is too long, if you see, this one has the ellipses next to the field. So if we have a field that has too many characters, too many words, that is a way to truncate that. So if you see now, if you want to see the whole value of the description, you can mouse over the ellipses, and then you see the full description. And if you see, we have this number of columns right here. So I'm going to choose a column, but the column that I'm going to choose is this one right here. It's called bar design. So I'm going to show you the code behind this field. So I'm going to apply. And now, if you see, we have this column right here, where you see if it's based of the value of some columns right here. If you see, this one is 75. We are displaying a chart or bar, including the 75% and a color. And also, if it's 100%, it's green, And if it's below, very low, I think below 50%, it's in red, and it's showing the graphic. Instead of seeing a value like you see right here, 25, 75, and 100, you can see the number, and also you can fill it out with a color and a chart, some sort of a bar chart. So in order to do this in Scriptcase, I have a field in the grid. If I go to fields, and the field is actually, no, it's not a field. I think this is it's an event. So if we go to events, we have on record event, and this is the code behind this section right here, part design. So the code says letting me click away. Basically, we're saying the progress value this is a PHP variable out of this field right here. So it's getting, give me the value of completion design, which is a field right here. Whatever the value is on this variable, this is going to be the label, the value that we see in here. So the 25, the 76, the 75, and the 100 is coming from this label right here, and the progress is coming out of this, but this is going to be, one is going to be the label and one is going to be a value. Now we're saying right here, if my progress is less than 30, then the progress color is going to be red. Otherwise, if the progress is greater than 30 and less than 70, the color is going to be yellow, and between 70 and 100 is going to be blue. Everything else is going to be a green. So right here, bar design is going to be this field right here, bar design. So it's kind of virtual field. So bar design is a div. So the div has a class, and the class, if you see, we are just adding the name of the color, red, yellow, blue, and green. So we are calling this class based on the color, and then there is another class right here for an internal div. So we are defining the width. So the width is coming from progress value. So it's coming from this variable, and then also the progress value, the progress for the class for the bar is coming. If I'm using the same value right here actually for the width and the label. So how are we calling this? This is a very short amount of lines to do this right here. So it looks very easy, very simple. But what it is, on application init, we have this call. So we have a link. Now, so if you see in the blank test, we had only one event, but now on the grid we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have more events. So if we want to know what is available on each event, we have this question mark right here on the top. So if we click in here, we get this help. Sometimes this helps, sometimes doesn't really, like some software doesn't show very good explanation. But this one, the event on a script ini says that this event occurs just one time. when the application is loaded. So, of course, only when the application is loaded prior to the application running, the SQL can be used for data processing or verified variables. And then we have an example right here. So this question mark is very good guidance if you want to know what is available. Also, you have this option right here. What events, what macros are available for these events? So for date, for SQL, for control. So all this will give you an option, and then if you click on each one, will describe what you can do with that instruction right here. So this is a very good guidance. It's kind of similar to this. What you see in red, obviously, is not available. What you see, all this is available. So in this case, on application init is executed once and is calling a library. So we are using the Scriptcase URL library. We can use that in a project level or public level. And what is the name of the library? And which file we are calling from that library. So basically what we are telling right here is, in this environment, right now is a development environment, so we can have this file into a folder, but the benefit of using this is anything that we have on a local machine and on import development machine, it will be loaded into production if we use this instruction right here. So it's just a benefit. So how we do this, how we specify just this small amount of lines, basically this is referring to an external library. So an external library, I'm going to click, and if you see, we have the name that we are referring here. This is the name. And then I'm going to click on edit. Now, this is the file that we are calling here. And if we want to know what is inside this file, I just click on the file, and it's a CSS file. So we are defining progress bar class. So we have an extension here, and it's basically the CSS of the class. So based on the color. So this is how we can organize our code. We can put more CSS classes here, or we can call. I'm going to show you some other libraries, but this is a simple library that is calling all this CSS out of this instruction right here. And then once we deploy, this will be installed for us instead of doing it us manually. We can do all this manually, but sometimes it's difficult to keep everything updated. But if we do it this way, we don't have to worry about installing the libraries manually. This will be transferred automatically. And so once this is being called the CSS, then we can execute it. And the on-record event, in the case of a grid, is every time when there is a new record being displayed on the grid, this instruction will be executed. That's why each color is changing, because it's executed on each record, on each line, on each row. And this is how it's being displayed. This is how it's being updated. So this is one example of calling an external library. but for external libraries also we can call some other like, let me see. I'm not sure if you have a question so far.
Oh, sorry. I have a couple. This sort of feels to me like you're no longer in the drag and drop design world. How does it compare? I mean, it feels like you've got a lot more control because you've got it, access to the design, the code windows. How does it compare to other products you might have looked at? Because it looks pretty. You've got a lot of power and flexibility there.
I think is very flexible because is pretty much open to any utility or any frame that you have available, like open source or or even if you want to put your own code, so you can paste HTML, PHP, JavaScript, anything here. So it's very flexible, and this code will execute based on the event. But compared to other applications, there's a good and bad. Having this is a great benefit, but at the same time, it requires a lot of knowledge, or at least I have to Google frequently to find how to do things, and then but it's kind of is once you see a sample. Once you see a sample on the web, it's kind of easy for you to modify the sample and paste it in here. And then if you if you do this, right here, you can test your code. If you go blank test, this is what I usually do. So if I go right here, I say forget about all the testing I did before, and then I'm just going to paste this right here. And then instead of having a value here, a variable value, I can put my own value. And then I can play with this and see how this executes. Right now, probably this won't work, but so it's one way that you can play with the tool. Right now, it's showing a blank because there is no field. We don't have a div, but so we can. I have to tweak this there is no field bar design. So I guess if I do an echo, let's see if an echo might work. So it's good, but at the same time, it requires a lot of. It's not showing the background, but it's just showing the value. It's because I need to embed the code of the this code right here too. So I'm not sure exactly if I answered your question. If we can compare this with other applications, I think.
Yeah, I think so. There are a couple other questions. Terry has asked, what PHP framework is it built on?
I think it's what is the name? I don't remember, but it's what is the framework? I think it's this. I have the name. I will remember. I will remember, but I have it almost in my mind. But I don't think it's Laravel. No, Laravel is fairly new versus the one that Scriptcase use. Scriptcase uses the one that PHP, the main PHP more popular framework uses. No, it's not Send. It's Send. I think it's Send, the one they use. Yeah, yeah. And so having the code, having access to this, it requires the user to know a lot of things about PHP, sometimes JavaScript, and HTML. So that is like, you know, mixing all the languages, and this can become very complex. But I'm still learning how to do things. But in this example, you see how the external library can be called. And also there is another option for internal libraries. If you see right here, we have PHP, internal libraries, so we can call to, we can create our own functions. Like an Access, you know, we can have a module with a bunch of public functions. So in here, we can use an internal library to create our own functions. And I think I might have one for this project. Yeah, I don't have one for this project, but yeah, but
Well, let me ask a follow-up question along those same lines then. How, if someone does have a background in PHP and HTML, how similar, how different is going to be the experience of working here? Will it be a step across, or will it be a step followed by a learning curve if you've already got a background?
I think the learning curve is very short on this, because you can do a lot of things just by, you know, clicking and you know, like if you want to create a field, there is a way to create virtual fields. So I mean, there is a lot of things can be done, you know, like if I choose a field, we have all these variables. So basically, it doesn't involve a lot of coding, but I think for a decent, good application, you are kind of almost obligated to use some coding. And in order to do that, you have to be familiar with PHP. So in order to build this in code, this, I mean, takes a lot of time. Here is given to you just by choosing the values. You know, like on this case is files. So if I click on files, it's a document type. So we have a lot of different type of fields.
I see in there credit card number and credit card. Are those standard fields? Are those masking fields for those types of values, or are they?
To be honest, I haven't used those. And probably I won't. I don't really. Probably, yeah. Probably those are encrypted. There is a way to encrypt those values.
That's what I was wondering, if it's some way of encrypting it for use in a payment processing system.
I haven't used that value, but I'm pretty sure it's encoded somehow, and they're improving the ways to encode information about these data fields. But To be honest, I haven't used it, so I cannot tell you. You know, credit card type, you can choose, and you can click the question mark right here, so it will tell you maybe if those are encrypted somehow. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, or you can use some sort of additional security on your application or your website, maybe adding SSL or storing the data encrypted on a table. But yeah, I don't know. So
Okay, again, I just kind of want to circle back. It looks to me like there is a lot you can do with basic out-of-the-box kinds of guided development, but it's open-ended on the back end where you can continue to expand it beyond
yeah,
what
I mean,
is
yeah,
available just on the kind of drag and drop kind of.
just to build this application. Just to build this application right here, the way it is, very simple, and it can take a long time to build this from scratch. And when you can build this on this tool, and with some little bit coding behind, like this one right here, if I choose a person and then the person, I'm assigning this task to the person, it will open Outlook from here. So if I go assign to, and then if I go to, this is a SQL code behind it, but if I go right here to Ajax events, if you see assign to has an Ajax event, so I'm calling this code right here. So it says get email from selected person, so I'm executing a lookup right here, and then if that person exists, then I'm calling a JavaScript Ajax instruction, send email, and I am passing these three values right here. I'm passing the project, the ID, and I'm passing the email. So basically, this is information to put in the email subject. This is the email. This is the subject. I think this too will be part of the subject. So I'm getting the email, and then I am passing the value of this field. This field right here goes automatically. It's pulling the current value from here and the value from project. So if I have project from somewhere right here, so the value is coming directly from this form right here. So basically send this value and send this value from the database and get the email from the person that I'm selecting to. And then it's going to call the JavaScript called send email. So if I scroll down here and I check programming and I expand JavaScript, we have a function called send email, right? And they are known for PHP, but for JavaScript, I have send email. So I click on send email, and there's nothing. Oh, okay. Oops. So I don't know what. Oh, if you see, it's a basic instruction, but I don't know why is. So if you see, when this instruction, the send email, is being called as a function being called, I am passing the email, the ERN in the project. So I'm just saying window open is a basic JavaScript. I'm sending the mail to instruction. I am passing the email, and in the subject, I'm putting the value of the assigned and a space, the ERN value, and the project value, and I'm not returning anything.
I have another question. Now, how much of this did you write yourself, and how much is part of the package?
Basically, what I write myself is what you see in code. Very much the Ajax events and the regular events. So what you see in here, events. I mean, on this one, if you see there's not a lot of code, ERN on change. See on this one, if this value changes, actually, I don't know why that is disabled, but oh no, this is checking. So basically, I write code when I need it only. So I try to write as less code I just only when I need it. So on this one, I don't know exactly what is triggering because the field is locked right now. So this one, status. Yeah, I think I change this one to be read only. So if I change that to the ERN, if I go to fields, ERN, it's hidden field, disable, select. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's being disabled. It's a select field. I should have a drop down for the ERN. Oh, I know why. Let me show you why. Because right now, if I create add new, now we have that available.
Okay, that makes sense.
So right now, if I change and I select ERN, and if already exists, basically, if the ERN already exists, this command will execute. The one that I have in here in this Ajax event. So if already exists, I put a note to myself, then it's going to show that ID already exists. Otherwise, if it doesn't exist, I will populate these fields. So if you want to develop an application, I'm building right now one for invoicing, but unfortunately, I cannot show that one to you right now. But that one has a lot of more validations. I mean, it gets more complex because then you start using a master detail form, and then you have to pass parameters between a form in a suit form, or main parent-child form. And then, to update totals and subtotals, and if you delete an item, and refresh this and refresh that. But I think this will give you a good idea or decent idea about if you want to develop a basic application, you don't have to use that much code, like a CRUD. I don't know how to say a CRUD application.
Yeah, basic. Yeah.
Is ready to go. I mean, it will do a lot of things for you, but once you start adding validations, like right here. So if in here I want to go to add, if I want to go right here into events and then on record, I want to add. I'm going to add a virtual field right here. So I'm going to say next, and then this field will be an image, and then she's going to put open. And then I'm going to select an image. So these images are built into the tool, and I'm going to look the ones related to open, and then if I choose a folder, and I'm going to add that image. So if I click run, Now I'm going to have this is a virtual field that I created. If you see it has a trash can right there, it's not a field that exists in the database. It's called a virtual field. So I have a field right here now. So instead of using the link that I have to the ID, I can use these images when this one is clicked. I can open this record right here. So, and I can disable this, so I can transfer the open from here to this little folder, and then it will do the same thing. Like if I want to open the 8278, I click in here, and I have the 8278 open right now. So from the grid, we jump into a single form. So now the next thing to do here is to put the code. So I'm going to add an Ajax event. So I'm going to choose the field. I'm going to choose open. So once open is on click, then oh, actually, no, I don't need to do this. I think on record, I can. Yeah, I have to put some logic behind this, but if you see that this is not that difficult to.
Yeah, I kind of think anybody who's done some kind of programming in the web environment probably can relate to what you're doing there. I mean, it looks. There's nothing. I guess that was my original question, and my conclusion now is there's nothing so esoteric or idiosyncratic or proprietary that would make it difficult for somebody to transfer existing knowledge. Is that a fair statement?
From Access Web Apps?
Well, not necessarily from Access, but I'm thinking from ASP or JavaScript. Anybody who has, or PHP, anybody who has a background or experience with an existing, what I would think of as kind of a traditional technology should be able to transfer that fairly well. They may have to they might be learning a different dialect, but not a whole new language.
No. This is pure PHP and JavaScript. I mean, the only difference is. The only difference is the way how you are referencing the fields. You have to do that between curly brackets, and if you want to do that for variables, I think I have a variable somewhere here, a global variable. You do that with brackets. So the global variable are available on any application. So you use this. This is the only proprietary instructions in the Scriptcase. A global variable is in brackets and is available on any application. And curly brackets are when you are referencing to a field. Like right here, when you put anything in curly brackets, you are referencing to a field.
A field from a database.
From here, this fields right here, and the macros. When you see SC_, those are macros. So basically, these are predefined functions for you. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you can create your own functions. So in other words, if you know PHP, if you know JavaScript, this is going to be very easy. The only thing you have to be familiar with the field names, variables, and if you want to use the macros or custom functions, and if you want to bring external app libraries, let me see if I can show you another one that I have right here. So we have 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so let me show you.
A few more minutes. I do have one more follow-up question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Reached a kind of a stopping point. Actually, two more questions.
Go ahead.
No, well, while you're working on this, I think, was it Terry suggested the possibility of a small project that you could share. Excuse me. And is that something that could be done fairly easily? And I know you don't have a store like an app store, but is there any way to do that, to make like a sample demo kind of app available, project available? Actually, does Scriptcase offer?
I mean, I have this is a small application right here. This is another application that I developed recently, and this one uses Excel. So basically, it has an Excel template. So you can download the template, and then you can populate the template, and you can add new items that don't exist, and you can update existing items based on this number right here. So this application basically is similar to the one that I have, but this one has a lot of more records. This one has thousands of records. Right now it has 200 here, but in real life has thousands, hundreds of thousands. And so on this one, you can have a like find and replace. This is a SQL command. So allows you to look any field in the database. Mm. So if you choose find and replace, it says find any field in database and replace it with this. So basically, this value is going to be replaced by this on any column. Actually, some columns, not all of them. So this is an instruction. If I click OK, it will replace the values in here. So it's going to find and replace, but in the entire database. Mm-hmm. And I have a folder right here. So this one is the one I showed to use equivalent. If you can click in here, or you can click on the folder, and it brings the record. You can add images too. So this one is calling Excel. If you see, if I go to I think external libraries, it's calling PHP Excel. I can. These are ways to work in Excel, and also has a PDF. If I go back here and I export this, I can export this to PDF or Excel. So these are using a PDF. So if I click Excel, right now I have the Excel file right here. So it's downloading, and I can do that, have that in Access too. I mean in Excel. So if I want to do that in PDF, so it's bringing exactly the same in a PDF. Okay. And this can grow and shrink based on the field value. So this instructions right here is using some libraries from PHP Excel and some from PDF. And these are separate. This didn't come with the Scriptcase. These are built from outside. I mean, this were imported into the Scriptcase.
Are there external libraries that you purchased separately and imported? Or?
Yeah, those are right here. This two right here. This one is you can do all some other libraries too. So right now I'm going to be working with. I'm working on one right now that I tested. Is emailing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with SMTP relay, that you can send emails on behalf of some other. So that I'm going to be using Office 365 accounts, and I tested it's working. It took me a while to figure it out, but basically I am going to email from the web. I have a web application that is going to be sending emails, but I'm going to use Office 365 to send those emails within the same network.
Okay, one of the limitations of the Access web app is that you could only send email within the site. You had to have a user account within the site. Is that a restriction that you're going to run into when you're using Office 365 for that purpose?
No, you can use, I think, I'm not sure if I have that tool right here, PDF, Office 365 email. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I cannot open it. This would show.
But I was just curious if that limitation was going to...
No, there are no limitations. I mean, like on this one right here, I can email from to any. No, I think for Office 365, I haven't tested outside, but I use another tool right now. I don't know if I have it here. You can email from anywhere to anybody.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I have it on this tool right here. On this one, you can email from anywhere to anybody, and might be able to test it. So blank test. Control certain. I think this is the one that will email. This is a machine that I'm having problems right now, but I think events on validate success. See all the code that I have to implement and on this one. This is, I mean, always I have to put code on my applications. That is, I mean, if I need to do something, I have to put. There is no other way.
But this is not code that you wrote, or is it code that you wrote yourself?
No, this is code that I wrote.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is emailing an HTML form, but I'm getting the values from tables and then populating tables. It's a basic layout, nothing fancy, but it's bringing data from tables. And there is another way to do this, but I just decided to do it manually by myself. But if you see, there is a send email instruction right here. So if I do this, let me create a new one. New connection, new application. So I go right here, line. So if I put an email account here, and then if I put subject and body, and I execute this, I might get an error because I don't have the subject. Oh, I have. So this should send an email from that line. Should send. It doesn't exist, so I have to go to programming and then internal libraries, and then have to call this library right here. I mean, embedding is like a include. So right now, I didn't get an error, so I just send from this line right here. I just sent to me
Just a
subject at the button. So let me see if I did receive that. Live. Sometimes there is a delay, but I can. Yeah, I can send emails, and actually the reason I'm replacing this one because there's a delay. On this one I'm using my account, and I think the Office 365 account will be much faster. So yeah, so I think I already passed the hour. I'm not sure if you have a question or.
I have kind of a wrap-up question, and I guess if you're kind of done, or if you reach a stopping point, we can shift this a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to circle back to cost. And you mentioned there's an annual subscription fee, and at some point in the past, I may have gotten this because we've looked at several different alternatives, and I may be confusing this one with one of the others, but did I understand that you have to pay extra to work with SQL Server Azure backends, or is that part of the basic application?
Let me show you. If you go here, these are the options. So right now you have a promotion. Oh, actually, it's a good. This one is a good option for $244 a year. So you pay how much? 20, 40, like
It's $20 a month, give it to.
$20 a month. You can build MySQL and Access. I mean, it doesn't really matter Access in this case because you can use SQL Server in MySQL. So in the past, when we met last time, MySQL wasn't part of the starter package.
Yeah, that's what I remembered, and I noticed that you're using it Azure tonight. So are you using one of the two other?
No, this should work with Azure too. If it works for MySQL, it should work with Azure too. This one right here. So the only benefit on the other ones is I don't really. That's not looking. Oh, this is. What is the benefit? Oh, you know what? You have to select only one. That's the difference. So you have to choose. So if you choose the SQL Server, it's 240. It's 279 for SQL Server only.
But it is an option, and that's kind of.
Yeah, this is the thing. So you have to choose. If you want to choose MySQL, it's 244, which it's no big difference. But if you want to have both, then you have to pay. Probably this is a better deal because otherwise you have to pay. I mean, it depends. If you have a client that has only MySQL, you pay this. If you want to get more clients and it has different databases, yeah, you have to get probably this one. But $400 a year in November on Black Friday, I pay $160 the renewal for this.
So it's very cost effective for someone who.
Oh, it's very cheap. Now I like the tool, but I mean it has the only problem with the tool is the support. So there is a lot of lack of support, lack of documentation, and you have to do a lot of backups. So because it fails. So but once you have it running, it's beautiful. It works smoothly. And it's very efficient. And once the workarounds, it's very, very. It has, the downside. I mean, I would say I highly recommend it. I mean, I recommend it. It's okay, but it's not the greatest tool for web development. But I use it because I can build things very fast.
Well, that's probably the key. And you can do turnaround, I would imagine, along the same lines where you can do rapid development, put something in front of a client, have them give you feedback.
What I do, I export the project quite often. I do this. I choose the project, and then I hit export. And then right now it's creating a backup of that project. And then once that project, I download the project, and then I show that in a folder. And then I have a web drive. So when I'm dumping everything on the web, it's like a Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox. But I have this. This is kind of included on my hosting company. But I can use different kinds. So I'm kind of testing this one right now. But I have to do this quite often, or because I'm working on a virtual machine, I do a lot of. It's called snapshots. So if I have a problem, I can go back. These two are every 30 minutes, and then the other ones are manually executed. So I can go back to this. If this virtual machine fails, I can go back to the way it was by using this technology right here. So this is beautiful because sometimes something stopped working or I screw up things up. And then I can go back to the last few minutes, and I lose nothing, that way, and nothing's going to be lost. So I have a lot of, I've done this because in the past I lost data. That way I have to start from zero, and this way I just go back a few minutes. And it's pretty fast. So I think I passed already the hour, so I'm not sure if you have a question or suggestion. I mean, this application, the benefit is you can build web apps very fast, but you need to take some training, and there are a lot of videos.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be familiar with JavaScript and PHP, not advanced, but at least you need to know a little bit of HTML and all that.
Yeah. The way I look at that is one of my biggest complaints about the Access Web App environment was that it was basically in a box, and once you hit the limits, you're done. And I think something like Scriptcase, where if you bring programming experience to it, you can continue to expand it, is a much more robust, viable long-term.
Right, you can do it both ways, because if you have all this, you can build. If you want to build a menu, and I mean, it's so fast. If you want to build a calendar, I mean, a lot of things. It's all this is improving. This PDF report is new. It's terrible right now, but it's getting better. And I mean, you can do it both ways with no experience. I mean, with no coding experience, you can build pretty much anything here. And if you have, PHP, MySQL, or I'm sorry, JavaScript and HTML, you can build beautiful applications. Dashboards, all sorts of things, and it's getting better. I mean, it still has needs a lot of improvements, but I'm hoping in the next, I don't know, this year, next year, and they're going to make a lot of improvements because
I think that's true for a lot of web environment. The progress is sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, I guess we probably should wrap it up. I want to thank you. Like I said, I know we don't have a lot of attendees at the meetings, but I checked the recordings and I saw that the last one at least 140 some people. So I think we can count on reaching a wider audience over the next couple of weeks and months as we go. At the next.
Yeah.
But the Microsoft MV Summit, Microsoft MVP Summit, which is in March, the first week in March, I'll be meeting with the Access team again, and I will carry my impressions of this past year, and the alternatives that we've looked at, and hopefully get a little more enthusiasm. I don't know what Microsoft's long-term plans are. Short-term, they're pushing Power Apps, but I think knowing that there are already robust alternatives out there.
I'm hoping the Power Apps will be a great tool for mobile applications, and yeah, that is hugely needed. How to integrate web applications with mobile applications and business applications, all from any device. And I think that would be great if they can make the Power Apps better.
Well, I would hope so. Now that you just brought up a point which I had sort of taken for granted, is this strictly a browser-based option, or does it allow you to create mobile apps?
It can create. They're working on it. It's one of the things we or a lot of people are waiting for years. I mean, I've been using it for 2-3 years now, but I hear in the past a lot of people complain. So if you go here. Let me open one application that my form. So if you go in toolbar, you get the option to which buttons will be available in the toolbar and which buttons will be available for the desktop environment. And so there is an option when you open an application. There is an option to at the bottom of the web app. It will say switch to mobile app, and if you're a mobile app, switch to desktop view, something like that. So it does it automatically. You can change it if you want to. I mean manually. But what it does for mobile, it will show basically everything in one column. Just one column. So it's not fully responsive, but maybe on the version 10, I think they might have that integrated.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they're moving in that direction. Probably.
Yeah, that is a huge request, and you can do that if you want to. If you go to an application that let's see, I think if you go to yeah, there is a way. Actually, here, if you go to here and then external libraries, if you see Bootstrap is there. So if you're using, you can use Bootstrap, and Bootstrap has a themes. Or actually, I think what they're going to do is this: when you go to themes, they're going to integrate themes with ZS. With there are some ways where they're going to give you options to create responsive themes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, this one right here. So this will give you. I think it will be responsive. The new themes they will provide in the future. Yeah, all CSS themes.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I appreciate it. Again, thank you very much.